Hi guys, so today is the 1-year birthday for Peace and Turmoil, which is the book that I wrote and published. I thought that in honor of it being 1 year since it's come out, that I would answer some of your questions on what all of this has been like. Hopefully this will be informative and helpful for either anybody who's wanting to write and publish their own book, or maybe to just give you some insight. Before I jump into the questions though, I am going to have a giveaway going on. You can enter as many times as you'd like throughout this entire month. And the giveaway is going to be for a book up to $30, any book you want. I'll have the winner announced in April, but also I am donating 50% of all of the profit that is made through online retailers for this month. I will have donated that to charity, and anybody who shares this with anyone on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, if you have hashtag Peace and Turmoil, that just lets me know that I can see your post. That's how you enter the giveaway. So really easy. You can post as many times as you'd like, but I'll have more details about the giveaway and the donating and whatnot in the description bar down below. Getting to the questions, I do apologize in advance. There were actually a lot of questions, and I know I'm not going to be able to answer all of them. Jumping into it, the first one says, are there any updates on book 2, and did you always know how to end it? I know how book 2 will end. I knew how book 1 would end. I know how the series is going to end. I know how book 3 is going to end. I know how book 4 is going to start. I know a bunch of the scenes throughout the story, and man, I can't wait to get to book 3. It's not that I'm not happy with books 1 and 2, but I just feel like book 3, I can't wait. Oh my gosh. And book 2 is going really well. If you guys are interested in getting updates, I try to avoid talking about it too much on my channel because I want this channel to be about other people's books, not about my own book. But if you are wanting to stay up to date with things, I'll have a link to my newsletter down below. The next question is, who was my favorite character to write? My dog is so grumpy. Oh my gosh. Anyway, the next question was, who is my favorite character to write? Who's the easiest character to write? And I know someone else I think asked least favorite. So I don't know if I can pinpoint an exact character where I'm like, oh, this character, it's just super easy. There's elements that are easy and elements that are difficult with every character. So for example, there's a character named Dietrich who is very extroverted and outgoing and optimistic despite the fact that he's lived a terrible life, but that weighs on him for sure. He's not a crazy person who has terrible things happen and he's like, no big deal. It still weighs on him, but his deep down personality is to be outgoing. And that's not me at all. I'm not charming and charismatic and outgoing whatsoever. So trying to write a character like that, I find to be kind of difficult. But then there's characters, I have another character who is not extroverted in the slightest, and they have some tendencies that I would say are more in line with me, but I don't want to do an author insert. So I have to be really aware of the fact that I have to very much think through why I'm writing them the way they are. Am I writing it because it makes sense to that character, or am I writing it because that's how I am? The next question is, who would you recommend it to? Who do you envision the reader to be? So there's a lot of political intrigue in the story. It's a very character-driven story. So if you like that kind of stuff, I would say, maybe give it a go. But as far as who do I envision the readers to be, I don't know that I have a particular idea. I've been really surprised. I had a beta reader who was 13 and he loved it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then I had a woman who is kind of an older woman who she reads fantasy of all types. She loves Wheel of Time and she loves Throne of Glass, so she reads whatever she wants, and she also loved it. So you got an old lady and a young man who both enjoyed the book. I think that's really cool, and I guess I can't answer. I have no idea what I envision the reader to be. The next question says, what is your favorite scene/event in Peace and Turmoil? Obviously, I can't give specifics because I don't want to spoil anybody who hasn't read it, but there is one scene in particular that I actually don't know what it was about that scene, but I read it and I was like, dang it. Like I was upset at my own events that I wrote, and I was weird to have an emotional reaction because I knew it was coming. I knew I wrote it, but there was this part where a character, the entire chapter, it's just them alone, them contemplating whether or not they should do the right thing. And the reason that they're contemplating this so much is because doing the right thing means putting themselves in harm's way. And the way that chapter ends, it's like I love and hated it. But I think probably that scene. Just, I've always said in books, I love when we just sit with the characters and we're in their head. And that's pretty much this entire chapter. So it's just my jam, I guess. I just like that kind of stuff. The next question says, what are some unexpected things you have experienced since becoming an author? To just be really blunt and upfront, the distributor, Ingram Spark, I didn't know, wouldn't pay you for at least 3 months. I think that would be very helpful for other people to know. Another question was if I am glad that I did self-publishing. Yes and no, but that's going to be the case if I'd been traditional, I think, as well. There's pros and cons to both. I really wanted to do self-publishing because of the freedom that it gave me, but one downside, I would say, is it's a bit of a double-edged sword to make yourself so visible to people because, some people, they're not going to like me or they're going to really like me. And that's going to affect whether they want to check out the book. It's going to affect their feelings on the book. And I wish that wasn't the case. I wish that I was removed from it. And I also, I don't want people to associate me with my book, if that makes any sense. Also, I think there are a lot of negative stereotypes about self-publishing, some of which are extremely valid because a lot of people can publish a book, they can do self-publishing. So a lot of times people think like self-published books are not edited professionally. A lot of times people think, oh, it's just a bunch of friends and family, which is really funny because neither of those things are true for me personally, but the stereotypes are there. So it's just really ironic to me though, because my mom said, I'll read it when it's done. My dad hasn't read it. My sister hasn't read it. And nobody except for my husband in my family read it before it was out. And then I have friends that have no idea that I have a channel. I have people in my work life that have no idea. Most of the people in my life that are not immediate family don't know that I have a channel, and they don't know that I have a book. And if you're like, well, what if they like search your name or something? Elliot's not my name, guys. Somebody just asked for writing advice, which is very sweet. I don't know that I feel comfortable giving writing advice. And I don't know how comfortable I feel with a lot of people giving writing advice. I'm just very, very uncomfortable with the idea of telling anybody, like, this is how you should do things. I guess if I had advice, it would be to research a lot of different things, to explore a lot of different views on writing, and to know that there are different views, and that doesn't make any one particular view right or wrong. I had quite a few people ask me about inspirations. And sometimes people are asking specifically what books inspired you, what authors inspired you. And I don't know how to answer this without seeming like a total tool. I am very inspired by music and by the world, literally just events in our world or the majesty of nature, those sorts of things. Sometimes they just hit you a certain way and they impact you a certain way. And those feelings that are evoked through that, I would say that's an inspiration, which is so artsy and snobby sounding, but like that's the truth. A lot of you know that I'm a big fan of Sanderson, and you know me as somebody who's a fan of Sanderson. My goodness, Luna. You know me as somebody who's a fan of Sanderson before you know me as somebody who wrote this book. But I wrote this book before I read any Sanderson. I've had people be like, oh, like I can see the Sanderson influences, which is incredibly flattering, but also I didn't read anything by Sanderson when I had written this book. One person asked, can you describe the premise of your book in one sentence? Let's try, okay? Royalty trying and failing to keep power. Somebody asked if it is character or plot driven. It is, I would say, 100% character driven. Oh my gosh, my dog. I'll do one more question. This last one says, when's the second book coming out? First book was awesome. Thank you, that's very nice. And I'm planning on the next book coming out next year. I'm really sorry if I didn't get to your question, but thank you so much to everybody who submitted questions. Thank you so much to anybody who has ever just said anything nice or been supportive in any way. It means so much to me that anybody has any interest in reading anything that I've written, because I'm an idiot. Why would I just, it's always really surprising to me. But anyway, thank you so much. Don't forget about the giveaway. I will have all the details for that in the description bar down below. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.